we're going to move on to this Epstein case and Donald Trump. The Epstein case is a very important case because this man was a Mossad operative planted there inside of the United States with the knowledge of several people in the establishments inside of the United States. Some people in the intelligence community inside of the United States knew exactly what he was doing, but the people on top of them told them not to reveal all of the information. His death was very shady, was very dodgy. The way his body was taken out, the way he committed suicide, when he was supposedly should have been monitored 24/7 in the secret special cell that he was in, which is like basically a hotel room, yeah, television, everything, and he was supposed to be monitored 24/7. All of a sudden, man kills himself, and the authorities decide to show his face when they're taking him out. You know, can it be clearer than that? Why are you making an effort to show his face that much? And anyway, when they showed that face, it wasn't really matching to Epstein himself. So there are concerns there and speculations about the authenticity of the death of Epstein himself. Probably changed identity, disappeared somewhere. It was a very powerful, reaching figure, very shady past also in how he reached to these levels. This man had very big ties with several people. The presidents were there, leaders, businessmen going to this island of his with a cult-like dome over there. Lord knows what he was doing there. But he was clearly raping American girls. That's what he was doing. Literally, he was kidnapping American girls by manipulation, whatever you want to call it, small girls, taking them to this island to provide these services for these people. He's planting cameras everywhere, and I hope you have a blackmailing network. There were suspicions from the beginning that Donald Trump was part of this network. Why? Because, well, firstly, he had relations with Jeffrey Epstein. He was seen with Jeffrey Epstein. He doesn't deny that he had relations with Epstein, and his excuse was, well, everyone knew Jeffrey Epstein in Palm Beach and what have you, and all of that talk. And during the campaign of Donald Trump, people within his campaign were saying that we're going to release the Epstein files. We're going to release the Epstein files. Why on earth is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? Doesn't she have information? Why isn't that information being made public? Is it because the people who are still serving or still have power are still there? What's happening? Anyway, they were saying, yeah, we will release them, up until we had this facade of like a 1% release of things that are irrelevant, not the whole Epstein files. We were looking for a list with names of everyone. The people are entitled to know. What do you mean a Mossad agent operating in the United States, getting the world's leaders and wealthiest people on an island and kidnapping American girls and raping them on these islands? What is that? Is that the world's greatest nation on earth? That happens and it goes as if nothing happened? And then they silence them with hush money and send them people who are wearing ties to threaten them in their homes, to threaten the girls, by the way, who were victims. That's those who dared to kind of challenge it, because, you know, there was a case and you had these Netflix shows and all of that. So the Trump fan base was expecting Mr. America First here to release the information, only for them to find out that Mr. America First isn't releasing the information. As a matter of fact, he's saying in videos, well, that's not important, boring stuff. Nothing happened. All sorts of the people are kind of getting confused, and this is his fan base. That's number one. You're coming. We voted for you, number one, to end the wars and bring peace, only for us to see that you lick the boots of Benjamin Netanyahu and follow his orders. Then you told us you're going to be releasing the files. Why are you not releasing the files? Do you have something to do with it? If If you're not worried about it, he would be the first one releasing it. If it was something not to do with him and against some of his, enemies, right, or opponents, he would have loved it. Trump. I get confused between Trump and Netanyahu because they're very similar. But clearly, there's something going on. Anyway, Wall Street Journal published an article. That article said that Donald Trump in 2003 sent a letter to Jeffrey Epstein that included documents. That was among documents included in evidence assembled by the federal criminal investigators as part of their probe with Epstein, by the way. That letter included like these hidden messages and, explicit stuff in a clear indication that the relationship between the two was more than just, oh, I know you from Palm Beach because everyone knows you from Palm Beach. First, who are you even? Man coming out of nowhere, suspicious career. All of a sudden, he has the most expensive places in Manhattan and a private island and his own network on the island, by the way, serious stuff. His own network in the island. It's as if, it's a country. And world leaders going and coming back and going and coming back. Wall Street Journal reported this, but the man got really angry. And now he's saying that I'm going to file a lawsuit. Not just any lawsuit, by the way. 10 billion US dollars. Imagine that, 10 billion US dollars. He's suing the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch, owning, of course, Wall Street Journal, for 10 billion US dollars over a Wall Street Journal story on Epstein birthday letter. And let's stop here again for a second. You're the president of the United States. Do you have the time even to start filing these lawsuits and for 10 billion as well? Secondly, if you're that innocent, why don't you release the files then? Then you would give everyone comfort, wouldn't you? And reassurance. And first and foremost, your base, right? American MAGA supporters, make America great again and America first, and all these slogans. They want the Epstein files to be released. As a matter of fact, in your campaigns, Trump, people were chanting Genocide Joe. You had anti-genocide people voting for you because of your promises. They wanted the Epstein list. They wanted you to focus on America first. They didn't want interference with other countries or dragging the United States to other wars, let alone having an attack. Doesn't matter how theatrical it is, on behalf of a genocidal entity that has been committing war crimes and genocide for 2 years against the Palestinian people. Why doesn't he release the files? And cuts a long story short. Then, if you release the files, you will have solid evidence. But you see how much of a difficult position he's in now, by the way? And it doesn't really look good on him. Why? Because if you were so certain, and if you're suing this man, release the files then. Release everything. Show that you're not included in anything in these files. Or do these files actually include Donald Trump? And is that letter actually real? Because we can't verify if the letter is real or not. I'm not saying that the file is real. And by the way, I'm not saying that Trump has had dealings, as in was part of the, blackmailing. I'm not saying that, but could he have been that? Could it have been a case of Trump actually being in those files? Was he blackmailed? I mean, that's the only thing that we can ask. Was he blackmailed, and can that explain his situation or actions or lack thereof? So if it's easy, if you're so innocent, release the files and let the people see them. That way you would close the whole thing and sue Murdoch and everyone else who said for sure that you were part of this blackmailing ring with Jeffrey Epstein, and seal it. But instead, what does he do? Whenever he's asked about this case, he says, "Oh no, it's boring. Why are you even asking that? Why are you even mentioning the Epstein files? We have more pressing things to talk about. What more pressing things than a man having the most sensitive information about the people running your country? What's more pressing than that? If there's a network, if there's an elite, if there's a secret group of people running things, we deserve to know. I mean, it's very simple. If there is. If there are files, and there are files, and that's why Maxwell is still in prison, by the way, then show the people and prove your innocence. But clearly he's not saying that, and that doesn't look good on him, which again could explain why he's trying to hide the files and not publish these files.